Hello, today I'm going to talk about placing crystals, minerals in your home and in accordance with the directions. Now I had a question by a viewer in regards to where to place crystals in the home, and I've done a vlog in accordance to the rooms and areas of the space. However, this vlog is going to be more focusing on the directions, and if you have been privileged or ever so abundantly luckily enough to be in a home, even build a home, to stay in a home in which has the directions in mind, then this vlog may be very useful for you. Now, as I usually say when I'm sharing about crystals and minerals, there are a number of ways in which you can work with them, and you can also embody and work with them through the form of art and imagination. So if you don't feel comfortable with obtaining and physically being part of this process of extracting them out of the earth, then you can still work with crystals in the mineral kingdom through art and imagination, and I would highly recommend that. It's extra creative, which I just love. Anyway, so I'm going to go through the directions, and it's going to be incorporating some of the Feng shui principles and also a little bit of color therapy as well. I just want to jump straight into it. So the first direction I want to talk about is west, and that's often associated with the color white and the chakra of the crown. It's also associated with the metal element, and often people will be working with this direction to bring in creativity. There are also some other colors that people may use with this direction as well, such as silver, gold, blue, and black. And when you're thinking about crystals to place in that direction of your home of the west, you'd be thinking about things like selenite and milky quartz. So now let's go into the northwest. And this is often associated with the color grey, but can also be associated with the color silver and white. And the chakra that this direction is often associated with is the root chakra and what we call the earth star, which is quite deep below the body. Also associated with the element of metal, and often when people are working with this direction, they'll be wanting to bring in and be working with the intelligence. Now, the kind of crystals that you may wish to place in this area are labradorite and moonstone. Now we're moving on to north, and often associated with color black, but it could also be associated with the color, another color that people like to work with in this direction is indigo, associated with the chakra of the root and often the water element. And people will often use or be working with the energy of protection in that direction. And so an example of a crystal for this one would be black onyx. Now moving on to northeast, and the color that northeast is often associated with is indigo. However, it can also encompass the colors of yellow and blue in general. Often associated with the chakra of the third eye and the earth element. Now the energy that one might be working with this direction is career success. And yes, often when people have built their homes with the feng shui and the directions in mind, they will often also be placing rooms in the directions. So say you were going to be placing a room or an area in your space as the northeast, and it was to do with career success, then, and you work from home, then you would probably be placing your office in that space. So this is just an example of when you are designing your homes, or if you're fortunate enough to find a home that's been designed in this way, architect in this way, then a lot of these directions where they're pointing to, they will place the rooms in those directions to bring in and to work better with the energy, or just the energy and the emotions and the realms in which one might want to work with in those homes. Okay, And so a couple of crystals that could be good for northeast is lapis lazuli and blue sapphire. Now moving on, sorry, I've just seen an ant on the floor. The ants here are like far larger than they are in New Zealand. And some of them like to bite, so I'm just checking that one. It's okay. It's moving along. Now we've got the birds. Okay, so the direction of east, often associated with the colour of green, also yellow, and often associated with the heart chakra and the wood element. And when you're working with this direction, you'd often be thinking and feeling and working with the element of health. So good crystals for this would be jade and green aventurine. Now the next direction I'll talk about is southeast, often associated with the colour purple, also orange, and my apologies, purple, also green. There's quite a bit of information to remember for all these directions, so thank you. Yes, and often associated with the crown chakra and the wood element. In this area, you would be working with the elements of wealth, so bringing in wealth into your life. And, not just your life, but obviously your world, you know, everyone that is associating with you. And the kind of crystals that you might work with this direction is silverlight and emerald. Now the next direction is south, often associated with the colour red, but can also be orange. Root chakra, of course, and a fire element. And that can be quite good for Feng. It's just interesting how all these elements and colours, and I can see how they all work together. And good crystals for this one would be things like red jasper and bloodstone. Also just want to say, these lists of crystals, they're not an exhaustive list. There are many more other minerals that you can work with in these directions. I've just picked one or two, so I'm not having to remember 20, 30, 40 different kinds of crystals in this vlog. Okay, so the next direction, southwest, often associated with the colour brown. However, some people also use the colour pink. Root chakra again, and also the earth star. I talked about that before, being quite far below the body. And earth element, of course. Now this one you often work with in the realm of relationships. And so some beautiful crystals for this would be pink opal and pink halotite. Now we're getting to the end of the directions now, so now we're going to go into the centre. And the centre of the home is often associated with the colour yellow, however sometimes white, black and orange as well. And solar plexus is the chakra point that's often working with this one. Earth element, of course, and we are working with the elements of balance. So how do we create balance in our life? You know, being the center, being the solar plexus, being the will. Yes. And so often the kind of crystals you might want to work with this one is citrine and yellow jasper. And the last one, it's not necessarily a direction. However, I feel it's quite an important part of the home, and that's the entranceway into the home, because that's often where you're going to be bringing in energy from outside the home. And so some of that energy may be conducive to what you are wanting to create within the home, and some of it may not be. So it's a lot of like intentionally, what do I want to continue to bring into the space, and what do I need to leave at the doorstep? That kind of thing. So often associated with the colour of brown and white, the root and the chakra. So, you know, both ends of the spectrum there. The wood element, and often a good crystal for this one could be clear quartz. It's super cleansing out what no longer needs to be there. I also personally quite like having a really dense bike stone as well at the doorway, because I find it quite protective, and there's been some elements in my life where I've felt like I just need some extra, like, no, you're not coming in here kind of energy. It's not serving what's in here, you are not welcome. Anyway, so that is my vlog on Placing minerals and crystals in the home, again, can be working with art and imagination to do that. It doesn't have to be the physical form. And yeah, obviously keeping Feng Shui in mind with all of that. So yes, it's not going to be a suitable thing to work with if your home hasn't been built with the directions in mind. It could be a little bit challenging. You know, sometimes people have their toilets or their bathrooms or bedrooms just in some interesting places in the home, not really incorporating those sort of ancient practices of where to be placing the areas of the home. So anyway, that is this vlog. You are welcome to leave any comments and questions down below if you're watching this on YouTube, and if it's another video platform that also allows the comments and questions, again, welcome to leave them there. You can also reach out to me on various other social media platforms. They are in the description box, and I will see you in the next vlog.